For coming to spend our time with us. Looks like he left the premise already.
Yes, he did.
That's,
He had another engagement.
I'd also like to thank Justin Troller for taking time out of his busy schedule to come join us today. I'd like to thank Tito Puente Jr. for his commitment to our chamber. And I'd also like to applaud the efforts of the chamber for putting all of this together along with the hotel and the Lakeland Linder Airport. Because there's going to be a really nice concert tonight. I can't wait to see you play, Tito. So, other than that, I just come to talk to you guys today about the debt crisis that we've been facing in the past 3 years. Now, for those of you that had the privilege of seeing me talk last December about the debt crisis, you will know that I was speaking about specifically how the deficits would cause a problem in our economy. As all of you know, we had an unfortunate event where our U.S. credit rating was downgraded just a few months ago. And that downgrade actually took out every single gain we had in the stock market for the entire year. So I want to talk about the debt crisis because in the past 3 years we've added $4 trillion to our national debt. Our national debt is worth $15 trillion. That's more than 100% of our GDP, which means that our national debt is worth the same value of our entire economy put together. So if we were to sell the U.S. economy, we still probably wouldn't pay off our national debt. That's how bad it is. Now, when it comes to deficits, we've seen trillion-dollar deficits for the first time in our history since 2009, every single year for 3 years. Now, this is unsustainable. We can't be doing this, and we need to be electing leaders that can actually cut the spending and that can cut the waste. Now, I'm not going to come up here to point fingers and everything. I'm just going to talk about a couple solutions that we could discuss with our representatives. And one of the solutions that is out there, of course, the most easiest one we could do, is to cut defense spending. We have numerous U.S. bases, about 63 worldwide. Many of them are in Europe, many of them are in the Philippines, many of them are in Asia, several are in the Middle East. Now, if you ask me, I don't think we should be having bases in Europe for the very same reason that there's no more Soviet Union there. The Soviet Union no longer exists. The Europeans don't really need our bases there, and a good number of them don't even want us there. So I think it'd be a very smart idea to cut that spending. In fact, the largest part of the defense budget is maintenance and operations. And maintenance and operations has to do a lot with the war that we're fighting and with the bases that we have across the seas. Now, if we were to shut down those bases, we could probably save around $300 billion.
Am I in the right
Close enough. Now, that's like chump change compared to our deficit, but that's a start. And it would bring a lot of U.S. troops home. Because I don't think we should be sending them to other countries that don't even want us there. Now, we could also reform our spending on defense when it comes to creating new weapons and technology. We can do that when our economy is strong and when our revenues are going up. But right now, we don't have any national contender that wants to compete with the U.S. on a military scale. The only competitor we have is China, and they just finished launching their first carrier this year. We have several carriers, the size of the Empire State Building long. They call them a Nimitz-class supercarrier. What I'm trying to get at is we don't really need to be pushing an increase in defense spending when there's no one to compete with. Everyone's a good decade and a half behind us militarily. And we could save a lot of money if we just cut the spending and wait till we actually need to do that spending. Because right now we need to focus on balancing our budgets. If we look at Europe, everyone, I'm pretty sure you've heard about what's been going on in Europe, the Eurozone collapsing with its monetary problems and its fiscal problems. Italy, its deficits, its national debt, more than 100% of GDP, just like us. They're having problems. Europe's trying to bail them out. Last year we had the same problem with Greece. Their GDP, their national debt was more than 100% GDP. That's unsustainable. And the problem is with Europe, there are countries that can bail other European countries out. So there's not a single country that can bail us out. We're worth $4 trillion. We're worth more than China twice over. We're worth more than the entire European Union. So no one can bail us out, and I don't think anyone does want to bail us out. Now, if we don't get our act together, there are two things that can happen. We can have our interest rates get so high to the point where we can't afford to pay them and run our government at the same time. That can happen in about 10 years. Or we can have something happen more recently. In the next few years, countries like Japan, China, Germany, and Russia have been talking about global currencies or trying to switch the reserve currency. Now, if the U.S. loses its reserve currency around the world, what that will happen, that will lead to hyperinflation in the U.S., meaning your dollar will be worth nothing. The economy will collapse, and let's just say we'll be like Germany in the 1920s. Our economy will come back for a good 4 decades or so. And this is really serious because before the U.S. was the reserve currency, Britain was the reserve currency of the world before World War II. World War II bankrupted them. They hired a couple of electives, and before you know it, they did a couple of wrong things after World War II, and the U.S. became the reserve currency. It took a long time for Britain to get out of that mess. Another thing we could do for our debt would be to reform Social Security. Now, some people say, oh, let's just throw Granny off the hill. No, we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to throw Granny off the hill. There's very simple things we could do with that. We could raise the retirement age, but we could keep retirement benefits for people who are 55 and older. So we can guarantee that the money they paid in, they'll get it. And that's easy to do. It's not very hard. Now, if you increase the retirement age, it makes sense because the standard of living or the lifespan of the average people in America has actually increased over the time and will continue to increase with the advent of modern medicine and future medicine.
Hopefully he'll be able to.
Now, what?
No, I'm just commenting to Tito that hopefully you'll be able to support me, in the future, so I don't find myself being thrown off the hill.
I think I'll be thrown off the hill.
Okay, good.
I'll make sure about it. You're going to live with me. Title that on nursing. But anyway, another thing we could do for Social Security would be to have a privatized option. Not force everyone to be into a private option, but what we should do is what we do with some federal employees, which is give them the option to take the taxes that they pay into Social Security and to put it into a bank account with their name on it.
This is a class project.
Because if we do that, then they'll manage their money a lot better and they'll get a better return. There are places like Galveston, Texas, that have actually done that. That they have the option to opt out. And the people in Galveston, when they retire, they have a much higher average retirement income than most people around the country. Because they got to take the taxes they pay into Social Security and they got to actually put a name on it and they actually got to decide what they wanted to do with it. It's not like Social Security now, which is predicted by the CBO or the Congressional Budget Office to run bankrupt by 2030. Now, I don't know about you, I personally would like a private option because I would like to handle my own money. I would like the government to say, oh, we'll give you this amount of money and then 30 years later Social Security is gone. I don't trust the government. I don't think you guys would trust me with the debt that we have going on right now. So anyway, with that said, we can also help our healthcare crisis. Healthcare is one of the largest parts of our economy, which is in crisis. It takes a large part of our economy. In fact, it takes more than 30% of our entire economy. Now, there are several things we could do with healthcare. One of them is that we can reduce the regulations and allow us to
I got a record with John F. Kennedy organization.
sell across the borders, meaning we would take the state lines down because right now current regulations, what they do is they keep insurance companies within the states. So let's say there's 5 insurance companies in Florida. You can only pick out of those 5. Now if you reduce those regulations, you'll be allowed to take insurance companies from New Jersey or from Alaska, for whichever one's better for you. Now when that happens, that will be a tenfold increase in competition. Because not only would you be able to pick from Florida, you'd be able to pick insurance companies from Texas. And when you have that much competition, of course the quality of goods is going to go up while the price is going to go down. And you'll have many more options to choose from. I personally don't agree with the national mandate that we have going on called Obamacare. But that's just me. I don't agree with it because it's an individual mandate and because it doesn't create competition. When you have the government trying to compete with a private sector entity, the government's always going to win. It's that simple. It's not going to help prices or anything. It's like me selling a gallon of air saying, here's your oxygen. I can give you oxygen when you can just go outside and breathe it for free. How are you going to compete with that? You can't. It's going to drive prices upward. It's done in Europe, it's done in Canada, it's done everywhere it's been tried. Canada's government, if you go on their website, they'll even admit that it takes a lot longer to get basic care under their system than it does with our care. The problem with those other countries is they have an accessibility problem. We don't have that problem. We have the best healthcare in the world. What we have is an affordability problem. And we need to address it as an affordability problem, not an accessibility problem. So with that said, there are many free market solutions we could do to fix healthcare. One of them, of course, is to take down those state lines and allow us to compete nationwide, allow us to go from one state and say, you know what, I don't like Florida, I want to go to New Jersey and buy insurance from there, without having to move to New Jersey. With that said, I also, to increase revenues, of course, we just can't cut we just can't cut spending. We also have to reform our tax system. Now, our current tax system is a progressive tax system. 45% of Americans do not pay income taxes. Most of them are on the bottom 50%, some of them are on the top 1%. The main point is 45% of Americans don't pay taxes. That means 45% of Americans, unlike most of you, are paying taxes, and I don't think that's fair. You guys work every day to earn your money. Well, some people don't even pay any of their taxes. Do you think that's fair?
No.
Your hard-earned money is going to D.C. to pay for congressional leaders who make more than $100,000 a year, and they haven't fixed anything. I don't think that's right. Now, to reform our tax structure, what we should do is, I just been informed that I need to hurry up.
Slip the note.
Now, what we should do for our tax structure is very simple. A very simple flat rate income tax and a flat rate corporate income tax rate. Very simple. Just keep it simple, about one page like this. Even a little kid can fill it out. The reason I'm doing this is because 20 countries worldwide have already tried this, and it's worked very well. The reason it works very well is it eliminates tax evasion by closing down loopholes, closing down tax deductibles, tax shelters, gets rid of all of that, and makes sure everyone pays the same fair share. Some people say it's regressive. Well, any tax on the poor is regressive. That's just a matter of fact. Now, going back to the flat tax, why it would work is because if you had a 13% flat rate income tax, it would still be a cross-the-board tax cut for everyone. Because right now, medium family households that are considered to be the poor in America still pay a 15% income tax as a family household. If you lower it to 13%, they still get a tax cut. It'll also make us a competitive nation internationally because China, for instance, their corporate rates are 25%. We have a 39%. We have the largest corporate tax rate in the world. We have unfair, unpredictable laws. We have harmful regulations. We have one of the largest capital gains. China doesn't even have a capital gain. Japan, South Korea, and Germany have been slashing their corporate income taxes. So my point is very simple. We need to have a flat rate income tax, lower it so we can increase revenues by increasing the tax base. It'll also help our economy because it'll keep taxes low for everyone. It'll make us internationally competitive because it's kind of embarrassing that we have a communist Asian country that's friendlier to business than we are. So with that said, I'm just going to close it right now because I know everyone wants to eat.